All right, welcome back. It is day 2 of the cycle. So 2 days ago we did back and biceps. We took a day off. Today we're gonna do shoulders and forearms. So I'm gonna mix it up a little bit here. We're gonna go back and forth, a little bit of free weights and a little bit of resistance bands, just to show you some of the options that you have. So I'm also testing out a couple different heights just to see what's a little more comfortable. As I mentioned the other day, do it with a partner. A lot of times it's a little bit easier. Just because the schedules with my girlfriend Danielle, sometimes we can work out together, sometimes we can't. This is one of those days where we can again. But again, a lot of times you might just be on your own. And so finding something that works with you and fits with you and feels comfortable is the key. So you go to the gym, a lot of times you're gonna start out at about shoulder height. Sometimes it's a little easier to go a little bit higher, but then, if you have to move it up, again, it can be a little uncomfortable. So we do a warm-up set. Usually we do about 50% of our max. My shoulders have been shot for a while, so I'll do what I can here. All right, so that was 45. I'm gonna take a second, add some weights, and it's geared to be the, again, 7-minute workout. That's the theory behind it. You don't have to spend all day at the gym. If you actually think about just the time you're lifting, it should be very limited, and you don't have to do a million exercises. You can get away with like 3 to 5 different exercises and be good to go, which I'm going to show you here in the next few minutes. And it might be longer than the 7 minutes, of course, because I'm going to be talking a little bit. Also changing my own plates. It's a little different than at the gym. If you just pop a pin and put it in there, you're ready to go, versus getting out and having to go around and do that. So bear with me. There'll be some edits here and we'll kind of pop things in and out. So here we go. Set 2, shoulders and forearms. I always prefer a little heavier music, so in the last video and today we got a little Metallica going, so. So, just like I mentioned the other day, if you do have issues with tears, strains, pain, things like that, there's a big difference when you are training and participating through pain versus through injury. Okay, through injury, you probably don't want to do certain things. If it's a little painful, yeah, you can often push yourself through, get yourself checked out, by an orthopedic or, your physician, just to see what's going on. Make sure you're icing, stretching, things like that. And always make sure you're replenishing what you've burned throughout the day. So perhaps you're taking your now body weight protein, taking your fiber capsules, maybe your creatine, your Elevate. Whatever you're doing, you want to replenish, because as you go through this and you strain this and you bring yourself to failure, you're tearing those muscles, and it's a whole tear and repair process. And again, you'll have a 10 full day cycle until you have to do shoulders again. So for example, 2 days ago I did back and biceps. I'm doing shoulders and forearms today. Tomorrow will be another day off. Next day will be hamstrings and calves. I'll have another day off. It'll be chest and triceps, another day off. Then it's quads, then another day off, and then it starts the cycle again. So ample time in between, but you want to again get to peak failure in the meantime. So started with 44 pounds as the bar. I added 22, 2 11s on both, you know, an 11 and 11 on both sides. And then I just put 2 5s on each side too, or 5.5. So really it's 11, 11. It's 22 pounds, 22 pounds. So really I'm at 44 and 45. So I basically doubled. And again, what we often will stress is your first set should be about 50%, 50% of what your typical max was at the last time. And then when you go through, your second set should be anywhere from about 70 to 90%. And then you should be into failure. And now, if I am gonna go through this last set, if I were to make it to 10, that meant I probably could have lifted a little bit more. If I can fail within those 10, then I'm probably at the right weight. Again, the issue is I'm gonna get to a point where I'm gonna fail, and I'm gonna stop, and it's gonna feel like I'm hitting a wall, and I won't even be able to lift it anymore. And that's where, of course, another partner would be willing and helpful to give that extra push and to lift it up a little bit for me to get through at least 2 or 3 more reps in that set. And if you go beyond 10 in that case, that's okay. Like if you're at like number 9 and that's number 10, 11, you're good to go. But if you're at 10 and you're fine, then really you should be doing heavier weight, okay? So just kind of throwing it out there. Again, it just kind of worked out this case. We're gonna give it a run, right? If we look at the time is just under 6 minutes. So the 7-minute workout isn't necessarily just for one workout, but again, just throwing that out there. I spent a lot of time talking, communicating, not too much just getting right to the workout. If you want to make it a little more cardio, we're going to be, you know, kind of out of breath the whole time. Don't talk as much as I do and just get to work, right? You could also alternate workouts and alternate exercises as well. All right, here we go. So, you notice I made it through about 5. I mean, I lost track, lost the blood to my head. Fortunately, I had it at a height. I did test it. I'm glad I did. I brought the bars down because when I'm with Danielle, sometimes we start a little bit higher and we help each other with that initial lift into spot. And so, if I couldn't lift it up, I'd be kind of stuck and I'd have to bring it down to my lap and just roll it off. So, one of the key things I would recommend if you are at home, you might have noticed this over the last video and even this video, these can easily slide. I would not recommend if you're by yourself to put the clamps on the end or if you have one of the things that screws on the end, because if you cannot lift that weight off, it's going to be crushing you, it's going to be coming down on your shoulder, something's going to happen, you're going to have some injury. So hopefully you've enjoyed this part. Check us out on the next exercise with shoulders and forearms, right? We'll see you right there. All right, one of the next workouts we can do for our shoulders is the shrug. And you're probably gonna surprise yourself. You might be able to do a little bit more than what you would think you could do here. And basically it's just a controlled motion. And basically, these are called I don't knows, okay? I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, right? So right now I'm starting with the bar 45 plus, I got 245 plates, so basically 135 pounds. Basically just gonna get a good grip, shoulders width apart. You're gonna lift it up and then basically I'm just gonna do some I don't knows. Now, at this point, sometimes it's okay that you can do a second set, which could go to failure, or you know, because when you think about it, after you've done a couple exercises, you've already got the blood flow, you've already done some warm-ups. It might not be necessary to do a warm-up with every single new exercise as you do. So I'm basically going to double my weight, or try as best I can. Limited at home with the weights I got, so we're going to slap on some of the others, put about another 45 pounds on each side, and we'll go from there. So like I said, I'm already at 135. If I were to double that, I'd get to 270. So I don't want to get 270 yet, but that means I got to put another 135 pounds on here if we want to get to that peak amount. And so, let's see, 100 35, that'd be 65 on each side. I can put about 55 on each side. We'll do that with a 33 and a 22. We'll see what we can do. All right, here we go. One thing I realized, my grip wasn't great. This is probably, my grip was not great. This is probably more than I had done the last time. So that was a pretty good jump. I wasn't able to get through a good as range of motion, we could say, in that case, and that's fine. Now, if you are doing something like this on resistance bands, we have a resistance band here connected. I don't know if you can see the green strap, but same concept. Might not be as strong, might not feel as tight. Maybe you start out and you just do more reps. But again, those are called I don't knows. All right, so the next exercise, if you got free weights or something at home, work your way up again. Start with something small, because again, if you have shoulder issues, you don't want to put too much strain on your shoulder. From years and years of sports, my shoulders just click and clack, and so they can burn out pretty easy. Maybe I have very little cartilage in there, I'm not really sure. I've never had them scoped or anything, but basically you're just going to go sideways. Basically you're just like bringing your arms up even and you know, basically just straight out to the side. If you want to bring them up, you can hold them for a second, bring them back down. Try to go a little bit above horizontal. Right now I just have a very low weight. You can do the same thing with resistance bands. If you were to stay on the resistance bands, I'll show you that in just a second. Basically you're just going to keep bringing them up, and then we'll double our weight here in just a second. Try to have a slight bend in your arm, not too straight. So we'll grab our resistance bands here. Again, there's a ton of exercises you can do with the bands. If you're starting out, again, you can tell just by their thickness that they're going to be a little bit stronger. And so you could go one at a time and just continually increase, you know, go from, you know, in my case, the red to the yellow to the, maybe I think it's to the blue to the green to the black. Once you've done that, you know, if you go to the black by itself, the black is like a couple of these together. If you then want to increase your weight, you'd add the black and another color, and then you just keep going higher that way. So, same thing, I'm just going to use one of the bands just to show you again the form, and just to get myself some bearings to see how it feels. If you're going to step on those bands, again, even this is pretty tight based on, I'm using 2 feet there to stretch it out. But basically, you can see the red one straight down, I've loosened the others. And I'm going to get a very similar motion to using that free weight. And it's a little more resistance all the way through. It gets tighter as I pull it up higher. And so on my first set, we just have one band. Second set, I'm going to add in 2 bands. And so people might think that you won't get a good workout with bands. You'd be surprised by how quick you could burn out with the elastic bands here. So, especially after I just did a set with the free weight, coming to this, it's kind of like I'm doing 2 sets right in a row. Again, the key thing is to stimulate those muscles and to burn those muscles out. So I'm gonna crank up, I'm gonna double my weight. I was just doing 5-pound plates. I'm gonna get the 10-pound or 11-pound ones. Again, do what your body can handle. If you feel pain, if it feels discomforting, then of course you don't want to do it. I'm also starting to lose form. I can feel my elbows bending. So then you know you're starting to fail. Throwing my back out a little bit. I can feel it all the way through my shoulders, certain parts. So again, you're still getting that workout. Doesn't matter whether you're using the bands, whether you're using free weights. Again, the key thing is that you're taking action and being consistent in your workouts. And so we're going to try to slide this through here a little better. And this might feel like a ton too, because it's 2 bands. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do, I was at the red before. Instead of the red and yellow, I'm just going to go with the blue. We're going to go with a thicker band, but it's just 1 band instead of 2 bands. Again, you can quickly feel, and again, even this I can tell is more than just the red by itself, but not as bad as the yellow and red together. So I'm already out at the point where I almost can't go all the way horizontal. That's good. That means I'm getting a failure. Doesn't really matter what the weight is, just as long as you get to that point. I think that is it. Now, you could do other modified versions. I'm just going to go sideways right now. You could also do modified versions forward. Again, just to stimulate different muscles and to get a different range of motion and different heads of muscles. So again, do what you got to do and do what feels comfortable so you get to that failure point. So in reality, it looks like I did about 5 sets in a row. So I got a lot of stimulation in those muscle groups. So something I probably will feel a little bit tomorrow. If you haven't done this before, you will feel sore in certain muscles. But one of the key things with that whole 10-day cycle is you're gonna have a lot of time to rest and recover. And so maybe it's just a little bit sore here, a little bit sore here. Unlike some of the old workouts that you might have done growing up where you thought you had to hit every single muscle group and run a couple miles that day, and then your whole body feels shot and you just feel miserable, and then you know the next day you're like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, I'm dying, and 2 days later, 3 days later, a week later, next thing you know, you're not working out anymore. So you can feel sore a little bit, just throwing that disclaimer out there, but overall, maybe a day or 2 later, you're feeling great, and again, you have 10 days to fully recover. So again, get your 7-minute workout on, and take a look at the next workout and the next activity here we have for shoulders and forearms, right? We'll see you in just a second. All right, welcome back. Our last exercise, at least the last one I'm gonna do. So I did the shoulder press, I did shrugs, and then I did basically lateral raises with both you know, resistance bands and the weights. And again, even you know, your resistance bands you could use, you could sit down in a chair, put it underneath the chair, and you can actually do your shoulder press with that too. So the last and final one I'm going to do here again, so really we're talking 4 exercises. We're not talking a million exercises. We're talking 4 that isolate, you know, the shoulder region, and then we're also going to do the forearm region. 2 days ago I did the biceps and I did my lats and my back. In a couple days we're going to do the chest and the triceps. So we're mixing it up on a day-to-day basis. Actually, it's an every other day basis. And those off days, we would recommend some active rest. So you go out for a good walk or a hike. Maybe you go swimming, you play some basketball. You do something that would bring you, you know, bring the cardio level up, bring the heart rate up, make you sweat a little bit, but not really bring your muscles to failure. If you keep bringing your muscles to failure, you don't have a good time to recover. So this is something I made and I started using way back when I was in high school playing lacrosse. And basically I made one my own. I just got, you can get a bar, an old shovel handle, broom handle, whatever. This is an old piece of bamboo I have. I got a rope attached to it, and I have a 5.5 pound weight, which again doesn't seem like a lot until you realize what you're doing. So basically I have it hanging, and we're gonna work our forearms here. And so this also is gonna work our shoulders because we're actually holding it up, and we're gonna try to hold it as horizontal as possible. And all we're doing is twisting and rolling the 5 pound weight up. And so your first couple times doesn't feel so bad, and you're like, all right, this is nothing, I can handle this. But when you go down, don't just let it slide and roll down, actually roll it down, and then continue the motion. So you're actually going in the reverse roll, the second round up. And you're gonna start to feel it already probably on that second round up. And then, so I'm doing like a backwards roll, and now I'm gonna roll it forward. And again, don't just let it slide out, but let it roll. Actually control it with your hands, so you're actually gonna get more of that grip. And then usually with that forward roll, you can go a little faster than your backward roll, but you're gonna start to feel the burn all the way through your forearms. I can feel it all the way up through my forearm to my elbow, my left a little bit more than my right now. When you do this, after you're done with this, I dare you to do this. Not only am I feeling it here, but I'm also feeling it through muscles all the way up and into my shoulder, because again, you're holding it straight out. So after you do this, try to write. Try to grab a pen or a pencil and write something. Try to text. Texting might not be so bad with the grip, but try to type, and your fingers will, you feel like you can't even move your fingers. They will clench for a little while. But you will feel it all the way through. The blood is going to start flowing in there big time. When you actually feel your forearm, they will actually feel bigger, because they're going to basically be swollen with all the fluids that are now going through there and the blood that's rushing through to get that workout. So an alternate here, if you're doing some curls, okay, you could basically curl and just kind of twist up. So if I have this plate here and I'm just doing some curls, I can just basically, if you look at the side, I'm just kind of twisting this motion up and down, not moving my arm or my bicep, just basically twisting that weight. You could kind of keep your arm straight and do the same thing in the other direction. So again, I'm just rising it up sideways. And again, that's going to stimulate some of those muscles. So if you don't have something like this, if you have something that you can either, lift up this way or lift up this way, just something to stimulate your forearm group. If you're on a machine, like a rowing machine, you can actually, roll it like a curl, but then as you roll, you're going to be bending your wrist more. Most curls, you keep your wrists relatively stiff. In this case, you would actually be rolling and twisting your wrist as you're doing that curl. So the weight is typically not going to change with these. You can change them. Let me grab this other one I have here. This, again, a piece of bamboo I had from years ago, and I always keep that 5 pounds on it. This is a piece of equipment that I actually picked up at the store Five Below. Five Below is starting to develop and be all over the country. And so basically it has a little, like a carabiner loop and then a rope. And so basically you can thread this through your weight and basically just bring it back on itself. And then I can strap it. So if I want to double my weight, I now have 11 pounds on here. And this isn't going to go as pretty as the other one. Let's see if I can make it through two here. I'm going to do the backwards one first. This is also a shorter rope, but the concept is the same. This is something you can get and you can attach anything to it. And so you don't necessarily have to need a big heavy weight. And so I can feel it more in my shoulders. That's why my arms are a little bit lower here. And I can feel that burn already. So you can see my arms are getting lower and lower and lower because of the extra weight. I cannot lift it up. Okay, it's too much strain on my shoulders. So, not to say that that's a bad thing, but you don't want to necessarily do the activity that is going to totally strain you and hurt you. You want to do some activities that, you know, you can actually follow through and actually have good form. So, you know, I would not recommend going heavy on these weights. Stay with lower, but just keep doing more. Notice with the first one, I made it up, down, up, down. Let's see, up, down, up, down. I think I went up, down 4 times. And so next time try 5, next time try 6, next time try 7 or 8. And so even if you do that, maybe it's in your 3rd cycle, maybe not even the first day, but maybe the 3rd cycle, you're really starting to increase the amount of reps you can have with this. So again, that's just another exercise you can do with our 7-minute workouts. The key thing is taking action. And what I'm going to do after this, I'm going to go replenish some of the muscles that I just basically teared up and help the repairing process by adding in the Now Body Sports Supplement, which is our whey protein. We have it in vanilla, we have it in chocolate, and hopefully soon, or maybe by the time you're watching this video, we have it in vanilla as well. So take some serious action, take care of your body, and we will see you in the next workout. Take care.